Is Wednesday, approximately 3 p.m. Central. And I have a question for you. And I say the date and time because I recognized that on the first video I did, it cut off the first part, even though it said I was live. I was not live. So I have a question for you. Have you ever hit send on a message or had a sentence come out of your mouth during a meeting? And the next thing you know, you feel this pit in your stomach because you realize, oh my gosh, I just treated the person that I'm talking to like a transaction and not a human. Well, my name's Sam, and I've done it. And it really got to me because I teach client retention, I teach team retention, I teach building relationships at the core of everything we do. Without relationships, we wouldn't have our team. Without relationships, we wouldn't have our clients, we wouldn't have our families. And so relationships are so important to me, and I did it wrong. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Let me share my screen. And this is the first time I'm doing this way. So we're going to I'm hoping it's going to work. I did a test earlier. And so this should be, you should be seeing my screen. I'm going to go over here just to check because I'd hate to be going live and have it not be working. Let me just check and see. You're seeing me, and I guess that's fine. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We're talking about confessions of a retention expert, my relationship fail. That's what we're going to be talking about today. And that pit in the stomach that I just talked about, when you feel that, that's your indicator, at least for me, that you just made a transactional comment or statement or pitch versus a connection. And I want you to start thinking about it when you start to feel those things, or when you're talking to someone and you're like, oh my gosh, that's not what I meant to say, and figure out how we can start to clean up some of that before it happens. Now, I want you to imagine, because maybe you're thinking, yeah, I don't do that. I haven't had that problem, but maybe you've had somebody do it to you. Think about the last time somebody tried to sell you something and they didn't even know your last name yet. Like, this is a thing where you're like, this is too soon. We haven't even, shook hands yet. You don't know enough about me to try and pitch me anything. The cold DMs are my least favorite, where somebody, like, I get messages all the time saying, hey, would you like me to help you with your admin stuff? We hire VAs. I'm like, well, you need to know your audience because I own a virtual admin company, right? Do a little research before you do a pitch of any kind. I'm wondering, I have some notes here just so you know, full disclosure, to where I make sure I stay on track because I tend to chase some squirrels sometimes. But I want you to think about that. When was the time where somebody tried to pitch you and it was too soon? And so we're going to talk about today when the expert, which is me, messes up. And I use expert in quotes, in that, yes, I'm really good at this. This is what I do. This is what I teach. But one of the things that I've come to learn over the years is, even though I'm really good at this, there's always going to be something to learn. And so a couple of weeks ago, this is a picture, real pictures from our wedding. And of course, he has to be playful with the knife in his hand. Arr. And then us actually doing the cutting of the cake. And we didn't do champagne or anything. We actually did shots. So he had his flask and I had my flask, and it was perfect. But this is a symbol, a reminder that whenever you first start talking to someone, that you're not asking them to marry you. You're asking for a connection. And just before I got on here to do the podcast, I was meeting with someone for the first time, and she was talking about, she does training in different industries, and how she was teaching people today how to build relationships and have hard conversations with tact and respect. And I'm like, yeah, we all could learn how to do a little bit more of that. But that call, I'm going to interview her on the podcast in a couple of weeks. And so this was a connection call for me to see if we were a good fit. Instead of me trying to pitch her on something, I said, hey, let's come together, learn about each other, and see if it makes sense. But I didn't do this all the time. There's a woman that I got connected to on school, and I saw what she was up to in the world, and like the lights just went on, where I knew like we were going to be like besties. We were going to have a really great connection, and I was going to be able to serve her audience and she'd be able to serve mine, and it was just going to be perfect. And instead of sending her a message asking to connect, I sent her a message that the moment that I hit send and I looked at it, I was like, I just sent her a message as if we knew each other. And her response to me was, no pitching. Please don't pitch. If you're pitching me, you're pitching other people in the community you're in, and we don't do that here. And literally, the pit in my stomach was legit. It was like I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep because I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do about this, because I just did the thing that I tell people not to do. And so I felt it the moment it happened. And then I sat with it for quite a while because I didn't know what to do. I was like, I don't want to go back to her and have her think I'm pitching again, or I'm just cleaning up the mess because, oh, she felt it was a pitch. But I felt this thing that I'm calling the relationship debt. I felt like I owed her some type of explanation or apology because I rushed the relationship, or I rushed the pitch. And it wasn't even supposed to be a pitch. It was supposed to be an offer to connect. And what I had done was I invited her to come and see something that I was doing so she could see it for herself, why we would be besties. And I just did it totally, totally wrong. And so literally, there was weeks I kept thinking about this, and her name kept coming to my mind. And I kept thinking, what can I do to make this right? And what I decided to do, and every situation is going to be different, but what I decided to do was I reached back out to her on messaging and on school, and I said, can I ask you a question? And she wrote back yes. And so instead of just doing a message back, I actually got on Loom and I did a video basically apologizing and taking ownership of what I had done and how it made her feel. And that was not my intent. And I truly apologized. And I told her I was going to be doing a segment on the podcast about what to do when you get it wrong and how to fix it. And I invited her to come and be on the podcast with me. And she was so gracious, and her schedule didn't allow for it. But because I took the time to own what I had done wrong, instead of trying to be all perfect, which is just fake anyway, I was able to possibly restore that relationship. And so now if I need to reach out to her for something in the future, we have a clean slate. And so how does this tie to retention and what I teach here for Retention Made Simple? Well, retention starts at the very first hello. Hello, like you had me at hello, right? And so it starts from the very beginning. However you start the relationship, that's going to set the tone for retention or not. And so it's not about just making sure you have everything in place for the renewals. It's about building from the very beginning. And so when you're onboarding a new client, if it feels like it's just a transactional handoff, then they're going to feel that and they're going to know it, and they're not going to stick. They're not going to stay as long. If their onboarding feels like a welcome and they're being invited in to something that's about community and connection and making sure that they get what they need. If you continue down a path where they don't get what they're signed up for, they're going to tap out pretty quickly. And so you want to know the best way to double your revenue without getting any more clients. Get your current clients to stay longer. I just use the example with Whitney, who I was talking to, who's going to be on the podcast in a couple of weeks, of if you have a client that pays you $5,000 and you get them to pay you another $5,000 to continue, you just doubled your revenue and you didn't have to get a new client, right? So if you want, in my opinion, to be able to stop chasing new clients, get the clients that make sense for you, onboard the right clients, and keep them longer, it all starts at hello. And so what I did with this particular woman, when I reached out to her, my intent was good, but I dropped the ball. Oh my gosh, I dropped the ball. And so taking relationships slow and smooth, it's not just in dating, right? You can't ask somebody to marry you on the first date, right? And so go slow and it'll help you go fast long term. And the foundation is everything. So here's what I want. I have two things for you. Number one, if you have not already signed up for the sticky note retention tip workshop for this coming Friday, every week there's a different topic. This week we're going to be talking about how to get more referrals without even asking, which is a really big thing everybody wants to know. So there'll be a link around this video or audio, depending on how you're listening or watching, and you'll be able to sign up to attend, and it's free. We do a demo of Retention Made Simple. We do the sticky note tip, and then I show you two options if you want to continue and actually implement what you're learning of how you can do that. Excuse me. In full disclosure, at the beginning, I'm going to say I want to make you an offer you can't refuse. But here's the thing. You can totally refuse it. You totally can. But the second thing is to tie this back to how to make this an impact in your world today, because I'm all about implementing something, not just learning something. Who have you pitched recently? Who have you pitched recently that you pitched too soon? Who do you owe an apology to? Who do you owe a statement of, you know what? I really see our partnership and how I can help you or how you can help me. But the way I handled that wasn't the best option. Who do you owe the opportunity to not treat them like a transaction, but to treat them like a human? Because when you come from a place of treating your clients like humans, because they are, and you learn to serve them instead of sell to them, that's when everything changes. So if I forgot to introduce myself at the beginning, if we haven't met yet, my name is Sam, and I'm the founder of Retention Made Simple. And our goal is to help small business owners, entrepreneurs, founders be able to build a stronger business because their clients stay longer and they give them more referrals. And if you're interested in being interviewed for the show, let me know, comment below, and I'll get you an invitation to sign up, see if you're a good fit for us to actually do an interview with. And I'd love to see you pop up on my calendar to where we can have a chat about that. And join Friday, 12 noon Central. Every Friday, we're doing a different sticky note retention tip. If the sticky note symbolizes that the tips are small and actionable, and you'll leave that day from the training with something you can implement that day to make your business better. And I am going to try and stop my sharing. I don't know how to go back to not share on here. Hang on, stop screen share. I did it. All right, I did it. So I'm learning this technology, and Restream is really great. If you're still here, I meant to do this just a minute ago. I have a shout out for one of the companies that I personally work with, um, Ryan with thanks.io. And Ryan has been great to connect with. We have been able to get on a call a couple of different times, and I'm going to be using thanks.io for some of the projects that we use for showing appreciation, but also marketing on the front end. And one of the really cool things they have right now that they just started, I created this postcard for my husband, and it says, "I'm a magnet, save me." And on the back, it has the writing of what it says. And basically, I was sending this to my husband without him knowing so he could see it. But this right here is a magnet. So I'm going to punch this out. And let's see. I may have to do it. I can't see. I don't have enough lights on in here. This punches out though, and it is oh, here it goes. I just needed to bend it a little bit more. I didn't want to rip it. And so now this will go out and be a magnet. I'm still having a problem. I don't want to bend it. It feels like I shouldn't bend it, but I have to bend it. Here we go. And so now I've got one more side to do. It's almost there. You just have to bend it. It feels weird to me bending. But now this is a magnet that somebody has that they can put on their thing. Like I just put it right here on my computer so somebody could put his information right there, and able to mail these for just a couple bucks each, and super, super simple. So I'll put a link, my affiliate link for thanks.io around this video too. And if you're looking to do some really cool stuff, getting stuff in people's hands in the mail, thanks.io is one of the companies I use. Have a great day.